family? Welcome to Living For You, the YouTube channel. I'm your favorite cousin, your favorite uncle, your favorite brother, your favorite father, your best friend's best friend. It's me, Dr. Larry Smith, and this is a safe space. This is a positive place. This is a place of growth where we're both, you and I, we're growing and we're here being the best that we can be. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, but right now in the present, in the now. I am a life and spiritual coach. So if you want to know more about me, you can actually go to liveforyoucoaching.com. That's liveforyoucoaching.com, and there's a wealth of things there and more to come. And that could be very useful to you in this walk of trying to be present centered. Because that's the best place to be is right now. It's a present to be in the present. Today I want to get on and I want to talk about a very powerful subject. And I think that subject is powerful because without this particular thing, your life cannot move forward. And that thing I am talking about is forgiveness. We all at some point in our lives are going to have to forgive. Whether it is forgive someone for doing something to us, or whether it is forgiving ourselves for doing something, or whatever, we're going to at some point have to forgive. It is a common thing for every person to have to do. But it is a very difficult thing when someone has done you wrong. And it's difficult because for whatever reason in our minds, we have this notion that somehow we are harming the other person when we choose to not let them go in forgiveness. Or when we choose to not forgive ourselves, we somehow think that we are punishing ourselves in a justifiable way when we don't forgive ourselves. So forgiveness, while it seems simple and while it's necessary, is something that is very hard for most people to do. And here today I'm going to kind of talk about it and kind of give insight as to why. And then I'll go and talk about why it's important. Forgiveness is hard simply because we have an issue with people accepting. One of the ways to find healing is to accept what is as being what is. What do I mean when I say that? Well, it's very simple. There are things in life that are out of your control. There are things in life that you have no ability to change. There are things in life that you have no ability to alter. I'll give you a good example of that. The past. How many of us live in regrets? How many of us live in the woulda, the coulda, the shoulda, if only I did, or whatever of the past? How many of us actually do that? But when you come down to the reality of what something is, you can't change the past. And so the past actually is what is. And so what is in the past has to be accepted and taken as what it is. You can't go back and change it. No matter how much you would desire to, and your mind gets you running on the woulda, the shoulda, the couldas, if only I could have, you can't do anything. So the past is something that you just have to accept. And there are many things in our lives, many things in our lives that we just have to accept. Whether it's someone else's personality traits, whether it is something we did that we could have done better, whether it's something in the weather patterns changing, whether it is something that is happening in the universe, whatever it is, there are many things out there that are beyond our scope and our ability to alter or to change. And so the first step to forgiveness is realizing that and accepting that it is what it is. There are things you can change, and you can do things. If it's within your power to change it, then change it. If it's a bother, if it's a worry, if it's something that is a burden on your life and you have the power to change it, you'd be a fool not to change it. Because why endure the stress of what you're going through if you have the ability to make it better? But there are quite a few things, if not the majority of things, that are not within your power to change. And so the only thing that you have to do is accept that what is is. So that's the first step to forgiveness and why people don't forgive. Another reason why people don't forgive is because, like I said earlier, people feel like they have to punish somebody in this situation. So whether it's trying to punish the person who did something to you, say if they violated you in any kind of way, or they upset you, or they did something wrong to you, they've wronged you in some kind of way, we have this inner feeling that there has to be a punishment for what they did to me. It's a very selfish mentality, by the way, to think that just because something happened to you, that person, because it happened to you, deserves to be punished. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have a right to be upset. I'm not saying you don't have a right to be angry at how you feel for being wronged. But you don't have a right to punish someone else. You know, my religious people know that God said vengeance is mine. The universe has a way of correcting that which has been incorrect. And so therefore there'll be a compensation for that. That is the law of karma. That is how things work. What's thrown out comes back. What's done comes to a correction. So that is something that's going to happen. So it is not your obligation or your duty to enact vengeance. But sometimes when it comes to us not forgiving the other person, that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to enact our vengeance and do them wrong because they did us wrong. And it goes in the same way when we're not forgiving of ourselves, because we're taught in our religious beliefs, we're taught in society, in the criminal justice system, that in order for stuff to be made right, there has to be a punishment. Someone has to be punished for something that they did wrong. An eye for an eye, the old draconian way of seeing life, right? Where we think of that way. And that even applies to ourselves. When we get caught up in a situation that requires us to self-forgive, we don't always, because we feel like we have to punish ourselves by wallowing in our unforgiveness. And so we sit in it. We sit in it. I can't possibly forgive myself for what I did. I'm such a horrible person and I haven't received adequate punishment for my stuff. But the same applies to you, as I said before. Vengeance isn't yours. You're not the punisher. You're not the karmic energies. If it's meant for you to experience something in recompense to what you've done, you will, because the universe takes care of that. The universe takes care of that. And it might not even be that. Like I said, everything happens in its own way, for its own reasons. And so, whatever happens, it's not in your power, or it's not your job to try to right that wrong, right? Right that wrong. So trying to punish is a big reason people don't forgive. Another reason people don't forgive is because they see it as a sign of weakness. If I forgive somebody for violating me, if I forgive somebody for hurting me, then I'm just being passive and I'm laying on my back, taking whatever people give towards me. And so therefore, I'm not going to be weak. I'm strong. And so I'm not forgiving. Actually, it's the opposite. You're actually strong when you show vulnerability. Right? I know, that's right. That's a powerful statement. You're actually strong when you show vulnerability. Because when you get in the defensive mechanism and you get in your arms folded and you don't want to forgive and you don't want to release that and you're holding it in, you're in protective mode. That doesn't show strength. That shows somebody wounded trying to hold their scars, protect their scars from being damaged anymore. But when a person is vulnerable and they allow themselves to forgive and to free themselves of it, it opens them up to have to deal with the emotions of whatever they've been through and deal with the emotions and the outcomes of what comes after that. And if you can process your emotions in a healthy way, if you can process your emotions in a way that is befitting a person who is trying to heal and trying to find peace, then that's strength. Dealing with emotions is a lot stronger than closing yourself off to those emotions. And so it is not strong to unforgive. It is strength to forgive and to heal. And the last reason why I've noticed people don't forgive is because they think that the other person should deserve forgiveness in order to get forgiveness. And same thing applies to them, but definitely with other people. they haven't shown any type of remorse. Hell, they haven't even brought up what they did to me. They just ignore and act like it didn't happen. You're looking at it from an outsider in. And what I mean by that, you cannot see what's going on inside the inner hearts and emotions and feelings and thoughts of that person. That person can be in an inside hell. The inside of them could be internal hell that is eating up at them every day, and they just don't know how to deal with it. That person can actually have physical ailments on the inside that could be a response or could be some type of issue from the situation in the linear experience. You never know. You're an outsider looking in. So to judge and to measure your ability to forgive them based on what you see makes you a judgmental person. Does that make you better than them? I venture to think so not. Because I venture to think that what will make you better than them is if you can forgive them despite not even knowing what's going on in the inside of them, in their brain, in their mind, in their emotions, and just let it go. Accept what is, let it go. And don't play Punisher. So it's important to forgive. It is important to let go, and those are reasons why. But the importance comes from the main important reason why it is important to forgive is because you're freeing up that space of you. You're freeing up that space within you for something positive. You've demolished a horrible house that was on the inside of you that needed revamp, that needed to be refurbished or revitalized. And now you have space to put in something positive to change the world. But you can only do that when you knock down that chaotic space within you of unforgiveness. But once you free that, you free yourself for all the possibilities in the world. And I can use my own personal example as a clear example of that. Throughout my life, I was abused. Multiple ways. Sexually, verbally, physically, trauma on top of trauma. But it wasn't until I learned the art of forgiveness that I'm even able to sit here in front of you and tell that story to help you find your healing, because it took me to find mine to be able to do that. It took me to accept the fact of what was and forgive all those people who had done me wrong in my life. And forgive myself for all the wrong I had done in life. And so forgiveness was a powerful thing for me to move me from one level to the next level. And I feel like I'm going to keep going and going higher, because the further I get, the more I want to free myself of unforgiveness and just be a forgiving spirit. Be a spirit of light. Be a spirit of hope. But you have to make the choice to forgive in order to get to that place, into that space. So forgiveness frees up a space for you to put something positive in. And forgiveness lets go that other person from the bondage of what they did to you. It might not seem like that's something that you would want to do when somebody hurts you, but you might be giving somebody the gift of a brand new life if you could just forgive them and let them go. You might be moving something out of them that's holding space in a negative way to allow them to grow and to come to terms with who they are. It is not your job to determine whether or not they're worthy of it. It's just your job to free yourself of it. And every life coach therapist say in the interim is that forgiveness is about yourself. But I believe on a deeper level, forgiveness is about the universe. The blockages that we have in the universe, whether it's a micro level between interactions between person to person, whether it's a macro level between nation to nation, global citizen to global citizen, the earth and nature and the environment to human, the blockage between all of us is unforgiveness. And in order for the cycle to be made right on a universal level, there has to be universal, continual forgiveness. And the only way for that to happen is for many, many more humans and people to start forgiving freely and freeing people from the bondages of unforgiveness. And then we make space for something beautiful to be created upon where once something dark and heavy and ugly was. So forgiveness is important. And so I just wanted to get on here because that was in my heart that was on me. And I said this channel is also about life coaching, obviously, clearly. And so that's one of the things I deal with when I work with my clients. I work to get them from a place of unforgiveness to a place of forgiveness, because there is no more present place to be than in a place of forgiveness. Because you are taking in the terms of letting go what is that you can't change. And you are accepting fully where you are right now. And where you are right now is what's important, because that's what's going to matter tomorrow. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't focus on yesterday. Focus on today. And forgiveness is a great way to find yourself in a present space. So forgiveness was on my heart, so I just had to get here. I don't know why it was on my heart. I was just thinking, because I've had to do a lot of forgiveness work in my life. Like, I've had to do a lot of forgiveness work. Forgiveness of other people and forgiveness of myself. I've had to do a lot. But once I started to work and pull back the layers of unforgiveness, life got better. Not saying that other people changed around me. I changed. I got better. And because I got better and my spirit got lighter and my spirit got better, I started to attract the energy that matched what was on the inside. And you guys know how the law of attraction works. You attract what's on the inside of you. So as soon as I started to lighten that load and revitalize and revamp and redo what was there due to unforgiveness, and start to forgive and free myself and everybody else and everything else aligned to that energy, and life became a more positive space, a more positive place. And it gave me the energy, the passion to become a life coach and to be here speaking in front of you. So forgive freely. Forgive is the first thing that should be done in any situation, even if it's hard. Forgive freely. I love you, as I always say. Thank you for coming here. Remember to subscribe to the channel for more good content like this, along with a whole host of other stuff that we got going on this silly channel we call The Living For You, the YouTube channel. Go ahead and like the video, because that helps me to keep doing what I'm doing. I get in the YouTube algorithm, and we can make this possibly a career. One of them. And go ahead and follow me on social media at Dr. Larry Smith on Instagram and on Facebook. Connect in all kinds of ways. And should you need help with forgiveness and you need some coaching, there's affordable options at www.liveforyoucoaching.com. I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.